Hi guys.
Hey guys.
Welcome back to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast.
We are your hosts. I'm Ashley.
I'm Ayo.
And I'm Temi. Welcome guys. We've missed you.
We missed
We missed you. So obviously we're back again with another episode. I think we're on episode 17. If I'm
or
correct.
something like that. Yeah.
We're very close to 20. Oh my days. So in today's episode, obviously you're going to see it in the title. Today's episode is kind of a continuation from our previous episode in terms of talking about police brutality, the Black Lives Matter movement, and just everything that's going on social media in relations to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and everyone that has been killed by police, not just in America but in the UK as well. So it's just basically talking about the developments, anything that has changed from our last videos, any updates, any new, just anything that we maybe haven't covered in our last podcast that has happened over the past week.
Yep.
So what are we starting with, Ayo?
So to get the first item on our agenda is essentially the new. So if you don't know, if you haven't been on social media, somebody falsified an autopsy result regarding George Floyd's death, and we're just going to quickly talk about that, because that in itself, like, is a very juicy topic to start with, because it's a very annoying thing. But essentially, somebody falsified an autopsy, which led to a second autopsy being done by his family. Thank God for them.
Thank God
must
for
have
that.
cost a lot of money. So we thank God for the donations and the petitions, because we need these things.
Definitely.
But yeah, I don't know if anyone wants to talk about that.
Yeah, you start, Ashley.
Can we really be surprised? Are we really surprised? Like, when they put out the first autopsy, I thought, yeah, this is a pack of lies.
Yeah.
This is just a bag of rubbish. Yeah, craps. Because it's just, and do you know what's so sad is the fact that the family had to hire someone separately with their own
private
and they had a private medical examiner. And it just makes me think of all the other people who were senselessly killed by the police, and they didn't have the funds to do that, and their autopsy showed something completely out of this world. Like George Floyd's one, it said that he had underlying health issues, that he
cocaine.
Even saw that he had apparently he had COVID-19 in April. That had nothing to do with him now, because he was fine before he died.
Imagine someone was like, if someone wrote it perfectly, they wrote George Floyd survived coronavirus, one pandemic, only to be killed by another.
Jesus.
Wow.
So in summary, his family went and got that second autopsy, and we thank God for them, because they eventually did find out it was due to not strangulation.
He was unable to breathe. Lack of oxygen.
Yeah. And so evidently we all knew. It's like we already knew. So period.
And the reason we knew.
And the reason why we knew is because of the video. It's blatant. We saw it in the video. Obviously, for those people that watched the video, he literally died in that video. Some people even went as far as to say that he died in hospital, but you could see he was lifeless in that video.
He was already dead.
He was already dead.
Yep.
So that's why we were able to even be so sure that, you know, the autopsy, the first one, was wrong, because it honestly didn't make any sense. I'm so glad they had the funds to hire a private medical examiner.
And leading on from that point, that was what eventually enabled them to charge that officer with second-degree murder, because initially they only tried to charge him with first-degree murder.
First-degree. I can't believe that.
Would have meant it was accidental, which we all can see from that video. It was not accidental.
No, it wasn't.
And also
especially a man was crying for help. That's not an accident. Because when you see someone crying for help, saying they can't breathe, the first thing you do is take precautions and get off them.
And so, apart from that as well, another update is that the other officers have now been charged, which we thank God for that.
I love this song.
Applause.
The song is ringing, and we are
round of applause.
I love it. I love this song. I love it.
And then also another update. So obviously, there's other people. You know, one thing I saw today, which has really upset me, is a lot of the people who have been killed through police brutality, murder. The officers haven't been charged. Similarly, Breonna Taylor's officer still, and it's her birthday today as of
it is her birthday.
So if you can do anything, sign the petitions. We need change. Obviously, this probably won't go up today, but just be aware that her officer still hasn't been charged, and she got killed while she was sleeping.
in her house.
In her house, in her bed.
Because of wrong identity. And when they killed her, they left her there for her boyfriend to fend for himself and try and get her to.
Wow.
And they shot her multiple times. So it's
wow.
So we know what that means.
You know what we'll try and do? We'll try and add all the links to the petition.
By God's grace,
in
we'll
the
have them.
Yeah, I'll make it my personal mission to add all the links to the petitions for you guys to sign, because it's so important. Like, Black women need to be protected and supported. So
at all costs.
We also want to give you an update of something that's changed here in the UK. So for those of you who weren't aware of Belly Mujinga's case, she's a fellow Congolese woman who was a key worker. She worked at Victoria Station, and someone, just a random citizen, passed by her, came, spat in her face, saying that they had coronavirus, and then not too long, she passed away also. The UK initially were investigating, and they concluded that there was no correlation between the two, which I just find absurd. Even if there is no correlation, the citizen should have at least been charged or something, because recently something came out about the same thing happening to a police officer. Someone spat at a police officer and joked that they had coronavirus. They've been charged and will be serving time in prison. So something that's changed is that they're planning to, it seems as though they're going to reopen the case, and there'll be a proper investigation into Belly Mujinga's case.
Hopefully.
Yeah, honestly. Because,
we're just honestly waiting for a statement. Apparently they're going to release something.
Right. Not only does she deserve it, but, you know, she has, for those of you who haven't been to the protest, I went with my sister on Wednesday, and her husband was there, her daughter was there, who's 11 years old, and also other family members, and just seeing the heartbreak in their eyes, it's just, it's unreal. So yeah, that petition link will also be in the description box. I'll make sure it's there. So please make sure. It literally takes 2 minutes, guys, to just put your name, your surname, your email address, and then sign petition. So please.
That in itself is evidence that petitions and that are working, though, because some people have been saying petitions and that are not working, and I'm like,
100%.
like, come on. Of course, like, it's not going to go to Donald Trump's throat and hold it and say, oh, listen to us, uncle, but like, it's getting the, you know what I mean, but it's
just voices coming together,
it's
and
showing
just,
solidarity.
yeah,
what else do you 100%. Want us to do? Like, there's only so much.
Challenging power.
Wake up that, hold on, if so many people are signing this, then okay, maybe we should actually be paying attention.
Show solidarity.
Looking to reopen her case. So
yeah,
it needs to be done.
And also, and just a quick one, just to point out, recently in UK media, if you guys are keeping up with Madeleine McCann's investigation, so something recently came out about a suspect. This is a child that was abducted in Portugal in 2007, a British citizen, and they've been looking for her ever since, and they've just apparently found a suspect, and it's just unfortunate.
Investing millions.
They've invested so much in this case, not to say, you know, that it shouldn't be it's not worth it or anything, but unfortunately, it just makes us wonder if they would do this for a black person or
Piers
black girl
Morgan
that was
himself
abducted.
Said on Good Morning Britain, and Piers Morgan is controversial. If you know who Piers Morgan is, right? He himself said on Good Morning Britain that if it was a black girl, he doesn't think he would have had the same. We would have had.
It's not doesn't think. It wouldn't have. Not doesn't. There's no doesn't think. A black girl would not have gotten the same attention. The case would have been closed ages ago. Forgotten about, like nothing happened.
I don't think the case would have been open. Let's start there.
Yeah, let's be real.
For all those wondering whether that racism stuff is happening in the UK, that's your answer.
Thank you.
Do with it as you please. So moving on, the next item on our list is why this racism stuff is not a political issue.
Right.
Some people have taken it upon themselves to say they're not going to talk about racism because, oh, it's too political for them to talk about. Oh, this is a political issue. But no, because when you want to talk about other stuff, it's not a political issue. But when it comes to racism, it's a political issue. As we all can see from the going-ons of the last couple of weeks, racism is a humanity issue. And so if you don't talk about it, then it's going
you're
to
part
show,
of the you're
something
part
is
of the
showing
problem.
from your
Yeah.
heart that something is wrong.
I agree. Literally what you said. Literally what you said. It doesn't make sense that human life is a political issue. It doesn't.
Literally.
Do you know what it is? I think some people, the reason why some people see it as a political issue, and I put that in quotation marks, I feel like they live in this fairy tale world, and they think racism is like an on and off thing. So it's like, the same way Donald Trump or whoever is elected into office, that's a one thing, and then we come back 4 years later. I think that's how they view racism. It's like when they see, like, for example, the murder of George Floyd. Oh, it's come out of nowhere. Oh, that's the only reason why people are protesting. No, that was the catalyst. But it's a long time coming. Like, it is event after event after event after event.
And also, it's also funny how the people that do think it's a political issue, it just happens to always be those people that haven't actually experienced racism, or they don't experience it on a daily basis. If you experience racism quite often, very regularly, you would know this is not a political issue. You would know it's not really about it. It does have to do with who is in power, but racism is a continuous thing regardless of who is in power. When Barack Obama was in power, racism still exists very much. So it's not about Donald Trump, even though, like Ashley said, it's a catalyst for it, maybe, but racism, those people that experience racism every day know that it's more than that. It's way beyond that.
Yeah, and of course there's legislation that needs to change. There's prison reform that needs to change. We are very aware of that. But at its core, racism is a hatred issue. It's a humanity issue. And so if you cannot see that, then you have a problem. Moving on, we're talking about the lack of empathy people seem to have, and their only thing that they can seem to focus on during this time is the looting and the rioting. So girls, go for it. Go for it.
Do you know what?
I'm going to try and talk in a... Actually, Temi, you go. Yeah, you go for it.
Mine's brief. Like, it honestly goes to show that it's just lack of education. Do you know what? At this point, I don't want to just always blame it on lack of education, because it seems as every time I say lack of education, what crosses my mind is the fact that, you know, I'm taking away the responsibility that they should have. Accountability. It is your responsibility to educate yourself. So if I just say it's lack of responsibility, lack of education, it's just me like dismissing it, saying that they don't know any better. It's your responsibility to know better. So how can you, like, how is it just about looting? People are not mad. The people that are doing these things, they are very angry. It's more than that. It's beyond George Floyd. It's beyond Breonna Taylor. It's things that's been happening for years and generations of Black people. So for you to focus on the looting, it just comes across, I don't know if the word is ignorant, it just comes across like, I don't know how to really say it. It's a bit insensitive, heartless. Like, just honestly put yourself in a situation where you have been trying to find answers for years. Your ancestors have been trying to find answers for years. Nothing has changed. It's still the same thing. But the only difference now is the fact that now it's being recorded. So it's the anger. Let people be angry. It's part of a human trait to be angry. And at the end of the day, these corporations that they're crying for to not be looted and everything, they can take care of themselves. Don't you worry about them. You know, Gucci and all these stuff. They're absolutely fine. They're going to replace everything very soon. So don't worry about them. They're absolutely fine. Focus on the issue here. Focus on the matter. If you're one of those people out there saying looting is not the answer, not to say we agree with it, because violence is never a good thing. But at the end of the day, there is a reason why that is happening. And if you're out here saying, oh yeah, looting isn't the answer, please tell us what the answer is. Please. That would be a lot better.
We're listening.
You know, that's
just to emphasize Temi's point, we do not condone violence, we do not condone stealing, we do not condone any of those things. But what we are seeing is psychological trauma manifesting itself. And also what we are also seeing are opportunists. A lot of people that have been looting and causing violence are not even the people protesting. So please check your facts before you come and use that as your argument, because it's flawed.
Even just to sum up what both of you, I agree with everything both of you said. Obviously, I'm not someone that I agree with looting, I don't agree with rioting. However, when you have something that's been building up, not even just for years, this is hundreds and hundreds of years, and like Temi said, we've been trying to find answers, we've been trying to do things peacefully. Colin Kaepernick took a knee, the examples I've been using, Taraji P. Henson, Viola Davis, they took a stand at the award shows when they took the opportunity to talk about Black Lives Matter and just making sure that there was opportunity for black women at these television award shows, people still had a problem with that. So it's like, this is a result of just us
not being listened to, and
us using every means possible. And it's now like, what do you expect people to do? Like, they've basically doing it peacefully. We've tried every single thing, and it's like we're not being heard. So this is now a result of people feeling unheard. Literally. So, and as Temi said, the people who are more angry at the looters than the actual killing of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and so on and so on and so on, because there's so many, the list goes on. Please give us an answer. If you have a solution, you know, your voice
comment it down below.
Please do, because at the end of the day, that's going to help the looting that you're so worried about. That will stop if we get an answer. So
please let us know what we can do. Because what I'm finding is that all the people saying, you know, the looting is wrong, the writing is wrong, you're not giving, you know, an
not being productive in that aspect.
Something else for us to do. So please let us know, because we would love to hear it. We really would.
Yeah. And moving on from that point, we're going to talk about the performative activism, because there's a lot of performative activism going on right now. An example we can give you is if you were on social media this week, there was the case of Blackout Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And just to give you a quick breakdown of what that was, people were posting black squares on their Instagram grid, or they were posting black stories on their Instagram story and saying, okay, we're going to take today out as a day to educate ourselves. Some people misconstrued what it was for, and we'll touch on that. But what it was meant to do was take the time out to stop posting about yourself, your selfies, your business, whatever you've got going on, and educate yourself on systematic racism and how you can be helpful in your community. And, you know, and you could have still posted about Black Lives Matter. But some people, as we saw, use that as a cop-out to post and be a performer as the easy way out, because it was less offensive to just post a black square than to actually speak out on the issue, and that's what we want to discuss. So.
Yeah, do you want to go
I think obviously, like Ayo said, so I think because a lot of people miss the point of the Blackout Tuesday, like you said, Ayo, it was to stop your own personal posts, and as well as educating yourself, to still be sharing posts of what's going on, not only in America, but here as well, to raise awareness, to educate yourself, all of the above. Obviously, the people that decided to use that day as, okay, I'm going to talk today, I'm just going to give this, and I hope this shuts people up and I don't get called out. And you could tell as well who you really use that opportunity to the fullest, because people that hadn't spoken up prior said nothing at all, and then all of a sudden Blackout Tuesday, hey, I'm going to be silent. But how can you be silent when you never spoke to begin with? It's a bit, okay. And obviously the flip side, the people who use those black squares, and you know deep down, you still see racism, as we said earlier, as a political issue. You didn't want to say Black Lives Matter. All you want to say was, I stand with you. That's it. Like, it was like a copy and paste message. Because I don't know about you guys, but I saw a lot of the same captions being used in a lot of people's... and obviously, it's not I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm a teacher. There's a wrong or right thing to say, but... I just think there's you just have to think, just up here, just use it. Use
because
it. If you really feel it, what you write will flow from here.
That's what I was going to say.
Don't just copy and paste. I stand with you, my people, my black people, or a hand of a white hand and a black hand together. Let's be smart.
Like, show you actually care, because we can tell.
Yeah. We can't tell.
Honestly, I would rather you say nothing than pretend.
I literally said that on my story. I was like, I would prefer that you just said nothing.
It comes across like a mockery. Yeah. You know? Like you're mocking the movement. Just be quiet.
And even the brands as well who, you know, you've been very hypocritical in regards to the issue of race, and then you saw that opportunity as,
you latched onto it, took it.
Yeah, and you know that people have called you out like, this you know, this was you a few years ago, and this is what you have to say. It's not, just make sure it's adding up, your actions and what you have to say, and your your brand as a whole and what you stand for, it needs to
align.
Because this is not a trend.
It's not making sense.
This is not a trend. Like, some of you might feel like this is a trend, and I just want you to understand this is not a trend.
It's
like,
real life.
Something that we're going to talk about today, and then tomorrow we're going to go about our normal lives. That no, Black Lives Matter is a movement. It's not just a moment. It's a movement. I saw someone post that. It's not a moment.
I love that.
Like, it's actually something that's affecting us. It's institutionalized. It is systemic. Like, our lives have to still go on.
It depends on it. Our future generation, our kids have to go through. Our great grandchildren need to go through. If anything, we are fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for them. I don't want to leave this world knowing that this has not been sorted out and my children or my grandchildren will not be protected. Imagine that. That's scary as hell. Like, it's not needed. It's not needed.
Honestly,
and
yeah, sorry, go on.
In terms of the Blackout Tuesday, the only thing I have to say, I remember doing a bit of research on it as to where it came from, and apparently 2 Black women in the music industry started it. And ideally, it was just supposed to be about the music industry, sort of like holding their talents for a little bit, just to speak out about the issue. So the hashtag was Blackout Tuesday, and the show must be stopped for that day. And obviously, everyone, not to get out of context, but they took it upon themselves to almost replace it with the Black Lives Matter hashtag. And obviously a lot of people made the mistake, me included. When I first posted it, I did use the Black Lives Matter hashtag, and I saw someone on Twitter posting the Black Lives Matter hashtag, the screenshot of it, and the Blackout Tuesday, and they were all black screens, which is unfortunate because the Black Lives Matter hashtag is meant to educate people rather than just a black screen, So that was the only thing. That was where the Blackout Tuesday came from, and that's what people ended up doing. But obviously with me, after I got more confirmation and was educated about it, I took out the Black Lives Matter. But unfortunately, some people did not get that information. But obviously moving forward now, like today, this happened on Tuesday, it's the Black Lives Matter is back to normal, and people can educate themselves and see what the movement is all about.
And this is just also our segment of this discussion to say we know not everybody's going to speak out in the same way, innit? We are completely cognizant of that fact.
100%.
But what's important is that when you do choose to speak out, it shows that you actually care about what you're sort of like. Don't just do it for doing its sake. Is the part of that. Our next item is education is key, because there's no more time for excuses out here. I've been seeing a lot of Black people saying this, and I do agree, to be fair. It's time for us to stop educating people about what racism is, because you fully know, and Google is there. It's free.
I was going to say that. Free of charge, because as well as racism, if you want to educate yourself on other things, you go to the internet, you ask people around you, you take it upon yourself to do so. That is the same with racism. Do the same thing. Educate yourself. And it's not just enough to educate yourself, educate the people around you, let people know what they're saying. Like, for example, the video of the white girl that I was speaking to, I believe that was her family member, about the issue of racism. She was educating because she knew what it was, and now she was telling her family member. That is how word spreads around. It's not just for you to know and keep it within you. Talk to your community, talk to people that will struggle to understand, explain it to them, let them see it from a different perspective from you.
And I feel like that's the difference. Like, I'm open to having a conversation and enlightening people about certain aspects, but when I feel like when it comes to the basics of racism, racial injustice, inequality,
white privilege,
all of those things, I feel like, why am I educating you about something that's freely accessible via the internet? And it's like the video that I came across, I sent to you guys. Shout out to my friend Nana. She worded it perfectly. It's like, Black people for so long, we've been explaining ourselves. We've been explaining to people about our hair, how we say our name, etc. So it's like, just think of, like, before you ask someone, can you like talk? Just think of how tired we are.
Exhausted.
We've been explaining, we've been educating, we've been doing
it, and look where we still are.
Right? Like, it's not hard there's so many documentaries available, there's so many books available on these sort of things, and all it takes is you just taking the time out and just opening your laptop or using your phone and searching. Because I feel like it really stems in, laziness and entitlement, I feel like.
Yeah.
When
100%.
When it's like, oh, can you teach me? Can you show me? Obviously, I haven't had anyone say, oh, can you teach me? But when they ask certain questions of like, oh, where it originates from, they're like, Google is there. I need to keep my mind at peace. Like, it's already overwhelming as it is.
And also, even as Black people, like, even though our history is not really in our faces, like they don't teach it in school and everything, where do you think we've had to learn it from? We've had to educate ourselves via the internet as well. It's literally what you are doing that we had to go ahead and do. The only difference is we are more passionate about it because this is about us. So
and maybe our family members have told us about it, but like, we've had to be educated too. So
exactly, it's not like we lived in slavery and we knew exactly what happened. We had to educate ourselves too.
So go and do it.
It wasn't taught in depth. It wasn't taught with great context, like other topics, like Henry and his 8 wives, the Battle of Hastings, all of these things. We took our time. Do you know what's so crazy is that I've never ever come across a Black person that's complained about the fact that it wasn't in our curriculum. We just got on with it.
Yeah, it's sad, but we just got on with it.
Yeah.
So, but do you know what it is? Just a quick one in terms of like our curriculum and everything, especially like obviously we live in the UK. I was speaking to a friend and we were speaking about the whole history of Black people and how it's not incorporated in the curriculum here in the UK. And he raised a point, and I don't know if I agree with it, and I just wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on it. I was going to wait for the podcast because I was going to discuss it before, but I thought it'd be good for the podcast. What do you guys think of the fact that, how do I put it? We live in the UK.
I know what you're gonna say.
This is not, we're not from here at the end of the day, you know. We are, because at the end of the day they brought us here, slavery, whatever, but this is not our land. If we look deep into history, we're not from here, we're from Africa. So do you think it should, because they are teaching their history, this is their land, they're teaching their history to us, you know, do you feel like it should be incorporated in a sense of, you know, we're here now, you know, we're British citizens, we're here now, so our history should be incorporated in the curriculum? Or do you agree with the fact that, fair enough, we're not from here, and, you know, if you really look at schools back home, they are teaching their history. If you look at Germany, they are teaching their history. If you look at America, they're teaching their history. Do you feel like it should be like that, or history should be incorporated? Because if we're incorporating Black history into the curriculum here, we should be incorporating 4 different types of history, Asian history, things like that. Do you know what I mean? So what do you think of that?
But the reason why, like, I honestly understand what he's saying. But the reason why I would say I don't agree is because I think the curriculum here has hidden a lot of British history anyway, in terms of colonialism and
slave trade.
Yeah, slave trade.
What they did, they're part of it.
Yeah, they're part of it. Like, they're very focused. The history here, the curriculum here, they're very focused on how it almost like benefited them,
how it made them look great.
So I feel like it's very hidden. Like, it's not actually, I'm not saying it's not real, but it's very hidden and sugar coated,
100%, watered down. Yeah,
I feel like that's where that point is kind of flawed, because the history here, they're not even 100% honest in regards to their.
I agree.
The history here involves our history.
Yeah, it's sort of incorporated in itself, that kind of thing. Yeah.
And my only point would be, you don't have to teach it, but if you're going to teach it, don't do it in the systemic racist way you've done it. So for instance, the only reason they're teaching it about us is to continue to further our victim and slave mentality, because that's the only way they tell us about, right? Maybe they'll give us one little dot of Mary Seacole, that she was a nurse, or they'll do that, you know, different little dots, but you don't tell us the richness of our history. So I'd prefer you just don't talk about it, period. Or but if you're going to talk about it, talk about the richness of our history, the fact that you still have our artifacts in your museum, the fact that you stole these things from us.
Honestly, like, Black history, how they teach it is so dark, and it just makes you feel so.
We're about.
That is why this whole, like, what Africa looks like is never portrayed in a positive light, you know. It's always portrayed like it's some, you know, not somewhere you'd want to go, but really and truly the riches in Africa are never spoken
just furthers
about.
their narrative, and
basically
just don't talk about it in, like, I would prefer it, or do it justice.
Exactly. I agree.
The next point is just to debunk a little myth that people have been trying to throw around as like an argument towards racism. Is like, oh, but look at all you guys killing each other, black on black crime. Black on black crime is not a thing.
It doesn't exist.
It's not. If you live in a predominantly white area, you'll see that it's majority whites killing whites. The same way, if you live in an area where the population is mostly black, That's who the crime
It's crime. It's just crime. Crime is crime. White and white crime, black and black Asian is crime. Killing someone is killing someone. So I don't understand why the narrative of black and black crime exists, and black people are actually taking that in as something. And do you know what it is? The reason why I don't want to say I understand. The reason why I feel like people use that and, you know, utilize it and make it a thing is because at the end of the day, we have to be honest in a sense where the black community needs some work. Definitely. And that's absolutely fine. It needs some work, but at the end of the day, saying black on black crime does not justify anything. Doesn't bring a solution. It just understand that crime is crime. Like,
period.
And it almost like when people say that, it's almost like they try to justify or make.
It's like a rebuttal to racism.
Yeah, and even the statement "black on black crime," just even when you really, really look at it, so basically what they're saying is, oh, but you have black boys killing other black boys. Black boys don't kill other black boys because they're black.
That is it.
Oh my
God.
Wow,
Ashley.
Oh my God. That is it.
Wow.
I have never heard a black person killing a black person because they're black. And now you want to put it on the same pedestal as racism.
It's not that, like, that's how they do not even correlate. Black boys do not kill other black boys because, oh, he's black, let me take him off the road. No, they kill him because they
might have issues or whatever.
100%.
Underlying issues, or they come from different postcode, postcode areas, whatever it is. It's not because, oh, he's black.
It's never been because he's black.
Like,
and a lot of our issues in black communities stems from institutionalized racism. The reason we had ghettos, but we are not going to talk about that because that's not the topic of today's video.
That's a whole other video.
Just so you know, okay? Moving on, why we can't rely on celebrities, influencers, brands to stand with us. Why we shouldn't be looking to them, why we can't rely on them. Virgil Abloh, the owner of Off-White, we're talking to you. Virgil, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and okay,
I'm gonna keep it two Virgils with you,
yeah, keep it two Virgils.
I'll keep it two.
Because the reason we're talking about this is because I think a lot of, like, in this time, you've seen a lot of people come out on social media and be like, oh, this brand should say something, the celebrities are not saying
almost
something.
Begging.
Do you know what I mean? Begging them, and it's like, do you know what? Why? Celebrity culture has influenced us to think these people are higher than us, as if we're not all human.
Almost.
You know what I mean? We can't rely on them. We can't. Of course, Sorry,
just to give some backstory, so if you haven't seen it, I feel like who hasn't seen it, but just in case, you know, there might be some people who aren't on social media like that. Virgil Abloh, I don't really know anymore. He is the CEO of the brand Off-White. He posted a screenshot of a donation that he gave to a black organization that obviously contributes to what's going on today, like racial injustice, all of those things, Black Lives Matter, whatever. And the donation was $50. Obviously, some of you might be thinking, okay, but what have you donated? What have you? That's not the point. The point is, he is worth over, what is it, like
million?
Yeah, over $4 million. And he donated $50.
And
you didn't have to share it with us. That's the thing. You didn't need to put it on social. So the fact that you could have honestly it there.
And you could have honestly, like, if you really wanted to make it clear and say that, you know, you've donated, you could just say you donated. You didn't need to say that.
And I think he knew. I think he had because you must know that that's going to come with outrage.
He's a very problematic person because when it comes to racism and these things, he's always never portrayed in a positive light. This is not the first time Virgil has been involved in things like this. And it makes me question a lot of things because I've seen both sides. I don't know this man personally, but I've seen both sides. I've seen his colleagues and other people saying he has done a lot for the black community. I'm not taking that away. I'm not saying he hasn't.
We're not taking that away.
But that mistake was very expensive. It was out of order. It came across inconsiderate, like, especially you being a black man as well. And in his apology, he had the nerve to say something about, oh, when I apply for jobs, I have to... What job are you applying for, CEO?
Virgil, you work for Louis Vuitton. Which job are you applying for?
What are you applying for? What are you applying for? What do you need that you don't get? Because at the end of the day, just because you have money does not mean you have it all. But what are you applying for?
Like, what are you insinuating with your statement? Like, people have brought up your employee list. All your employees are white.
He started his apology with I'm dark skinned, I'm dark. Where we get it? What are you getting at?
he just seems very like out of touch.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. Like he just like he's not really with it. Like he's not there.
And to broaden that, that's why we're saying you can't rely on these people, because a lot of them are out of touch. A lot of them have gotten
a lot of them have showed their asses.
A lot of them have gotten to that position where it's like normal humanity is hard for them to even. It's like money and position and fame. It's like twisted what humanity is meant to mean to them.
And this is why I'm on the fence when it comes to influencers and celebrity and public figures speaking out, because obviously we have people like Virgil, we have other people that are not really, you know, the brightest in everything. Just those are the people you say open your purses to, because when it comes to words, you're not the best. You just open your purses. In terms of other people that are, you know, I don't know, just sit out. Just honestly, sit out of it. We can do this without you. Sit out. What about the other people that are making a difference? Jackie Aina, John Boyega, Kiki Palmer. Like, they are speaking out. They are doing, like, even J. Cole. I'm seeing Kanye recently. Like, they are making difference. They're out there protesting with these people, doing what they can. That's why I feel like, you know,
what
that's why I feel like
they're human. And that's what a lot of celebrities are not showing. But those ones, they're showing that they're human and they understand.
Yeah. So obviously I'm on the fence. You know, you're always going to get people that are always going to do the most and not do it in a positive light. And you're always going to get the ones that will bend their backs just to make sure their voices are heard in a positive way.
Correct.
So, you know,
like John Boyega has put his whole career on the line, and we salute him with everything that we have in us. And
someone said something someone said something about the John Boyega issue, and it made so much sense. They said, it's so funny how John Boyega's career might be on the line and he knows it, but people like Ariana Grande, all these people that are also speaking out racism, Billie Eilish, and you know, their careers are on the line.
Yeah,
like, you know, it's very funny how their careers are not on the line. So this is part of the issue. You know, we just need to honestly like support John Boyega at all costs, because that man has to go places. You know, as a Black community, we owe him. He's put his career on the line, and by God's grace, you know, more people would want to work with him after this.
I'm telling you.
Right. Moving on, we wanted to talk about Jackie Aina and how she's been instrumental. So we just talked about John Boyega, and we just want to talk about how Jackie Aina has been instrumental in, you know, leading a revolution in the beauty industry, getting brands that pull up or shut up, which the
hashtag that has recently surfaced a few days ago. She made a video about it and explaining what it is.
Exactly. And essentially also
shout out to you, Jackie. Honestly, I'm sis.
That's my queen.
She's a queen.
Jackie Bot's like if you're obviously, you never know you're watching it, but you're doing an amazing job.
We love
Keep up, sweetheart.
Yes. But she's basically getting brands to pull up those employee lists and show us if you've got Black people in your executive and managerial roles at your businesses.
And do you know what she's doing as well? She's very strategic with it, because she's not calling for all brands to do it. Those specific brands, those specific corporations and organizations that have decided to stand up and speak and say Black Lives Matter, or say whatever it is about the situation. You brands that have done those things, we love you, thank you. However, let's see your executive boards. Let's see your employees list. Let's see the people that work for you. Let's see the statistics. Let's see their ethnicity. Let us see the people that represent you. And what the thing is, the whole point of her doing that is not just to show us or reveal whatever, to show themselves as well. You are speaking about a topic that's very passionate to a lot of people, but what are you even doing about it? What does your organization say in terms of equality? Because a lot of organizations, do you know how much training you have to do these days to talk about equality and this and that? But really and truly, when it comes to the interview room, because I am Black, you don't want to give me the job.
Because my name is Ayo.
No.
You don't want to give it to me.
You don't even want to come close to, you know, come like asking me to come in for an interview because you're already unconsciously or consciously biased from my CV and the name you find on it.
Yeah. We don't get chances.
I think we just want to see if these brands, if what you're really saying is manifesting into your actual company.
Day-to-day operation.
And if it's not, start doing so now.
Because you can speak and do Blackout Tuesday all you want.
72 hours. I think it's even how many hours now?
Probably 48 now. Yeah. You can speak all you want on your TL about Blackout Tuesday, but if you're not actually implementing these things in your business, then you're chatting from somewhere.
Void. We don't want to hear it.
Dirty.
And you know what? Especially with these makeup organizations and these beauty brands and all these things, majority of the people that make you your money, let's be real, are Black women, because, you know, we're into these we're into the fashion world, we're into hair businesses, makeup businesses. And someone pointed out another thing on social media: a lot of these beauty brands that are speaking out about equality and Black Lives Mattering, you haven't even created foundation shades for the people you are talking about.
Wow.
So, you know, it's all nice to speak up. We listen, thank you. But where
point?
Like, look like you know what you're talking about. Look like it, at least.
Look at your ambassadors. Your ambassadors, you have 40 white girls and 1 Black girl and 1 Asian girl. It's not making,
you know, like, look, honestly, look into that and understand why Black people, ethnic minorities, are not represented properly. How would they? How can they be represented properly when majority of your employees and your staff members are white?
How can we feel like your products are for us if we're not even we're not a thought? We're not even an afterthought. Talk less.
We're not even in the target audience.
We're not there.
But we're still the ones giving you the coins. We're still the ones investing. We're still the ones putting our money there. The thing is, we're not telling you now to cut out your white employees. Of course not. We would never say that. Doesn't make sense. Let us feel included as well. Give us the same opportunities as you are giving them as well.
More time, you use our outrage as part of your publicity stance. You release your foundation shades list, and we know you knew there was only 5 shades for.
But you're still gonna do it anyway, because you know someone's gonna call you out on Twitter. Bad publicity is publicity at the end of the day, and you're happy with that. You're part of the problem. Stop posting Black Lives Matter because we see right through you. You don't care. You know, like Ayo said, if you're not going to speak on the if you're not going to actually support the movement properly, do not do it at all.
Just close.
Like, it's actually really, really cheeky. Like, I actually can't get over the point you made, Temi, about the foundation shades, because you have 35 shades to cater to Caucasian women, and then you have 5 shades which are mocha, coffee, cappuccino, coffee. What's going on?
This podcast alone shows you how diverse our skin tone can be. Talk less. You've got Nikki on Instagram. You've got Nima Tang. You've got Jackie Aina. You've got Winnie Harlow.
What's it?
You want one shade to fit all 3 of us. Thank you. Tell us how you really feel.
Is that even ignorance at this point?
At this point, you're just...
I don't even know what it is.
That's like, they know what they're doing. They know
what they're doing. I agree. They know what they're doing. They have to.
We're genuinely not part of their target audience. That's what I believe.
And it's
We're not even in their thought process. We're not even in their strategic meetings. When it comes to the look of their brand, we're not part of it.
So stop pretending on social media when these topics come up. We're telling brands to speak up, but not just to speak up. Do something about it within your organizations.
Pull up or shut up.
Shut up.
And shut up. Hold it. Zip it.
Someone said it best.
Okay, so next year we want to talk about something, because we are girls. We're quite, we as girls are quite empathetic, and we really care about the way people have been feeling during this time. We know that so many people talk less of us, like, have been feeling it. Like, I don't know how many, I've just been in my bed more time for the last week. Like, it's just been...
And I think, do you know what? It just makes it a lot worse that this happens to be around lockdown as well. It's just, everything is piling up together. This year has just... It's just, I don't know, it's a sad time at the moment. So obviously, just to share with you guys that you're not alone. We're all feeling like, literally in our group chat, we're asking each other how we feel and how everything is, because some people are just not coping at the current moment. And, you know, we're here for each other, and you're not alone. You're
not alone, and try as much as you can to laugh during this time. I've found that just calling up the girls. There was one night, us 3, we was on the phone. That laughter really helps.
It does.
Scientifically helps you anyway. So a way to almost burn out from all the social media stuff, because it can really finish you if you're not.
It can be a lot. It can honestly be a lot.
Check up on your people. Like, just have conversations. Obviously, I feel like the conversations right now are definitely. I feel like they're around race, all of these things, but it's okay to have conversations like, how are you? What are you going through mentally? And just obviously taking time out off of social media, because there was even this
it's
quote,
important.
a lot of people have been seeing it. There's this quote, you know, you're trying to find a balance between staying present and remaining aware of what's going on, but also making mental health is good. And obviously,
so
like,
true.
I'll even feel guilty. I'll feel like, okay, well, I'm here saying like it's too much to read. Well, what about the people who are actually experiencing this, who are actually the families who have lost their
loved ones,
their loved ones to the senseless killings. And so we just want to let you know that it's not guilty. You shouldn't feel guilty to just take time out 100%. And take time off of social media, because the way, like we said in the previous video, the way we're absorbing and taking in information at the rate and the severity and the quantity, it's out of this world.
It's overwhelming.
It's like never before.
Not normal.
Yeah.
You have to take time out for yourself and do things that make you happy. Yeah. Don't neglect pouring back into yourself, whether it's praying, being in God's word, exercising, finding videos that make you laugh, watching movies, whatever it is. Don't neglect that, because it's so, now more than ever, it's so important. Like,
definitely.
And I guess our final like roundup point, which is going to be like our conclusion, is this a revolution? Is this a movement? Is this something that we think is make lasting change, or what?
I'd like to say yes. What you start, Ashley?
No, my answer is yes.
You go this
I have a viewpoint on this one. So I genuinely believe that I genuinely have been feeling that there's a shift going on, and I genuinely believe it in my heart of hearts, because there's something different about this time. And I'm so grateful to God for social media, because I think that is the main thing that's made it different this time. When it might have started as a hashtag, of course social media was out, but the way people used it probably wasn't to the way we use it now. And the way people are using it now, it's like my whole TL for the last week has been the same thing every single day. And I like it that way. I'm not going to lie to you.
Same. Every time I wake up in the morning, I fear that people have forgotten, but I still see the same things. People are still talking about it, just to show that this is not a trend.
It's not a trend. And so for me, it is a revolution, and it will only remain a revolution if we're doing the right things. And what I'll say is the right things to do, continue to talk about it. Continue praying about it, because what people don't realize is, as much as it's a humanity issue, who created humanity? God. So it's a stronghold. It's a demonic thing going on. Racism is demonic. Like I know it sounds, but it is. So prayer, being in the word, is essential, and just reminding ourselves that we're not going to just be woke for now, because for us, all three of us, this is not just something we're woke about now. If you have a pro-black video on our channel, like we talk about these things amongst
all the time.
But what is important is the things we're learning during this time. Don't allow them to go to the back of our brains and just, just go
Sit
away.
there and just go away.
Black business, if you have to become more intentional about where you're shopping, do that. There's so many things we can do. There's so many things
100%,
we're learning. And in 100%. Order for this to be a complete revolution, we need to be active.
Continue. For real.
I agree.
Right.
Ashley, do you want to go?
My answer is very short and sweet. Do I think it's a revolution? Yes, it is. What I said, this I can't even explain it. This feeling of this is it.
Yeah.
Like there's no other explanation. Even just I was saying, there's a shift going on, not just physically but spiritually as well.
Yeah.
So this is just for believers everywhere to continuously be in prayer, because during this time I feel like we don't want to miss out on what God is telling us as individuals to do and to contribute to our society as well as a collective. So I genuinely believe there's a shift, like a real shift happening. And I genuinely believe that this is it. And I'm grateful that I'm able to witness this.
Sure.
And someone even tweeted, I'll finish with this, someone even tweeted that, the year 2020 is going to be one for the history books.
True.
And I don't want it to be a thing
I
where my children read about 2020 and they ask me, okay, well, Mum, what did you do?
What's changed? Or what's changed?
Yeah, what did you do to, how old were you in this movement and what did you do? And I don't want to answer them and be like, oh, well, I didn't really know. I want to tell them, like, your mum was about it. I was on the front line. I was there. You don't know about your mum. I was there.
100%.
Mate, I saw. Tell me, you want to say
100%.
what you want to say, because I've got like 2 quotes to leave the video with. So if you want to.
Okay, cool. Mine as well, short and simple. Is it a revolution? It is. It's a revolution. As a Christian, I believe it's a revolution because at the end of the day, you have to keep the faith. So it is a revolution in itself, you know. And I'm honestly trying to stay positive that things will shift, things will change. But obviously, I can't deny that, you know, we have been here before and we're still here. You know, we've been here before. Things have happened before. Black Lives Matter, the hashtag started in 2013 and we're still here in 2020, 7 years after. But it's a thing where by God's grace, honestly, like this can't all be in vain. This can't all be in vain. Even Breonna Taylor, her case has been reopened. You know, they're looking into it. You know, things that have happened from the past, they're not letting it slide. The petition's almost done for Sandra Bland. You know, her situation, her death or her case might be reopened as well. So things from the past, it's not just about the present moving forward. Things from the past as well. These people need to be taken, be put into justice, and responsibility needs to be, you know, shared or whatever. So I do feel like there is definitely a revolution, and by God's grace that is the case. There's one thing in hoping it is, and there's one thing in it actually being one. So by God's grace this is a revolution. We are going to see change. These organizations are going to step up. You know, Black people, we are equally as important, we're equally as beautiful. Our melanins will continue to pop. Our children are going to, you know, live an amazing life without having to feel as if they're going to die in the hands of police officers and disguising in KKKs. You know, we are going to flourish in many ways, regardless of what any other ethnicity or any other backgrounds think of us. And last thing I want to say, of course it's a revolution, and I think I mentioned it earlier in the video. As Black people, even though it's a different conversation, but as Black people, we need to thrive within our community as well. We need to love each other. We need to continue doing that.
It's our time.
We do that. It's our time. We're ready. Like, we've been ready. So the fact that we want them, we want these. Exactly. We want these people to listen to us. There's a revolution. Let's say they are starting to listen to us. These things are starting to, within ourselves, we need to listen to each other too, which I think is also going to happen, you know.
There can't be division.
And just to round up, to just completely summarizes, there's a difference. And I think one major reason why there's a difference is because our generation, we don't take stuff lying down. We speak. With the difference between our parents' generation is they were so oppressed to the point where it was like they had to become complacent with what was going on, because speaking up about it, what was that? They could have lost their job.
Do you know what?
Deported. Lots of things can happen to them. But like 100%. Us lot is different.
And you can even still see the difference in today's generation, like in terms of how our parents speak to us about these things. I don't know about you guys. Even my mum is like, oh, they get it. Like, don't go to the process. Like, it's like, like millennials, we're more outgoing, we're more outspoken. I'm like, Mom, like, it just goes to show in their generation, it's not like they didn't do much, not to discredit what they did, but we're speaking up now. You know, we're not having it. We're not having it.
They still have that fear as well, you know.
Yeah, they do. And we don't. We're fearless by God's grace.
God's grace. God has given us the power. We are the chosen generation to change this, and we're not going to let it pass us by. Exactly.
I'm sorry, but we're not the ones. You've got the wrong ones this time. God's got the spirit of favor, of power, love, and sound mind. And because I have all of those things, baby, let's go. Square up.
Period. So two quotes to leave you beautiful people with. The first one is, if you've ever wondered what you'd do during slavery, the Holocaust, or the civil rights movement, you're doing it right now. So whatever you're doing right now, if you're wondering what you would have been like during that time, you're doing it right now. So take the opportunity by the hand, like by the, I don't know what they call it, take the opportunity by
the neck
and do what you need to do.
And to end this video with this last quote, it is, what if 2020 isn't cancelled? What if 2020 is the year we've been waiting for? A year so uncomfortable, so painful, so scary, so raw, that it finally forces us to grow. A year that screams so loud, finally awaken us from our ignorant slumber. A year we finally accept the need for change, declare change, work for change, become the change. A year we finally band together instead of pushing each other further apart. 2020 isn't cancelled, but rather the most important year of them all.
When I saw that, I said, yeah, period. And that's the energy I'm going forward with. So I'm sure my girls are too. So
we know it.
Yeah, so
it's painful. It's been a painful year, but change has to happen. You know, 100%. Change can't happen overnight.
So thank you guys for watching, everyone. We love you so much. Keep educating yourself. Keep being hopeful. Keep praying. Change is coming. All right. We love you so much.
We really do. We appreciate the support, the comments that continue the conversation respectfully, wisely as well. And yeah, thank you so much.
Period.
Bye, guys.